Hey, enthusiasts, what's happening? This is Salty Language episode 665.
Almost satanicist. Almost the most evil podcast on the network.
There you go. Yeah, that'll work.
My brain had stopped for a second there.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, how's it going, man?
Yeah,
no shit,
trying not to melt. It's been a little toasty around these parts for the last week.
Fire tornadoes are in effect. It's been fucking brutal.
Yeah, what's really funny is I went to the store before all this started, and my dumbass, I'm buying shit for cooking and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, what am I? And now it's like all week it's been like it's too hot. Like the air conditioner's keeping the house cool, not cold, but cool. But it's like if I use the oven at all, man, it's gonna be blazing hot, and it's too hot to stand outside and use that.
Yeah, I have done bare minimum cooking this week because for the same reasons. It's been hot as fuck, and I'm like, and I've told you before, and I'm sure I brought up on the show, my work, it's hot in the winter, so now it's insane. Like I'm so surprised people don't just die.
But right. Well, that's why they have they provide squinchers or whatever it is.
So when I get home from work, I'm pretty much like drained, and I'm like, no. So all week we've been eating just either we've gone out like we did yesterday, or like today I was just like let's get some chicken for the air fryer,
Yeah, that's what we've been eating out the last few nights, and it's like it's got to stop because just the cost. It's it's like we've got food, but it's just too damn hot. The meat we have is
currently in the freezer because I'm like, nope,
Yeah. Same here. It's like the only thing I have in the fridge, like I've got bacon I need to cook. So like later tonight, and by later I mean probably like midnight.
Dude, are you doing midnight Blackstone bacon? Oh
no, I'm just gonna do it on I'm gonna do it on the cast iron. No, I would do it outside except for mosquitoes. Yeah, because the mosquitoes will be a nightmare with it all soupy.
I just think
like
that'd be so funny. Someone's just like driving by and you're just out there frying up bacon.
Yeah. Like what the hell are you doing?
Off. That's what I'm doing.
Bacon, duh.
Just like
just pull a gun.
Just get your lawn spatula and launch bacon grease at their face.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
That's
I got to
true.
practice for my food truck,
Exactly.
Flinging hot food right.
As long as you yell hot bacon surprise, I think it's legal. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I assume you do have to yell something like 4 or something like that to make
assault.
It not assault.
Like I warned him. I yelled hot bacon surprise.
Like, what do you have to say for yourself, sir? Your Honor, is it really assault if I'm throwing bacon at you? Case dismissed.
No, I'm not saying bacon, just hot grease.
Oh, just grease. Oh, yeah, the grease. Yeah, okay, yeah, they may have a problem with that. But I fling a piece of bacon in there at some point, though, I can be like, I was just trying
like
to,
a little,
hibachi
like a
style.
square inch of bacon.
Yeah, like I'm just trying to give him some bacon, and I imagine they would throw it out immediately. Like, who doesn't want bacon thrown at him? I mean, maybe a vegan,
accurate.
but
they're not real people.
But most of oh man, I hope Clicky's not listening.
He knows. I also like the thought of what do you have to say for yourself? Your Honor, hot bacon surprise, grease across the face.
You're right, because I always keep a pocket of hot grease.
Yes.
At the ready. It's what I keep in my flask is just hot grease.
The old pocket of hot grease. I love it.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
I love it.
Until you stick your hand in it inadvertently, then your hand will smell delicious, but like, man, who's cooking bacon? Like, oh, them's my fingies.
The old fingies.
Yikes.
But yeah, it's been a rough. Like I told you, Monday, I think, because I was at work and I'm like, there's no fucking way, and I'm like, dude, we're gonna have to do it on the weekend. Like every day I come home and just like now I'm like fucking tired. And
imagine, Well, yeah, 'cause, being in that humidity and heat,
Oh
it
yeah.
saps you,
Oh
even
yeah.
if you don't do
Well,
anything,
and
just being
unfortunately,
in
I've
it.
been fairly busy all week, so yeah, why
Of
not?
course,
You
yeah,
know?
right. Yeah, I brought groceries in the other day, and it was like 91 and humid as shit. And by the time I was done with groceries, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I was like, "That
Yeah.
was 10 minutes." Like I feel like I just got my ass handed
Yeah,
to me, and that was
it's
10
brutal.
minutes.
It's a character builder,
Yeah, I
Brian.
can't imagine doing it all day.
And
Yeah,
I have an
right.
air conditioned office I
So
can retreat to if I need to. You know, I feel bad for
right.
the guys that are,
At least there's
well, I mean, I
that.
guess I already did it for 5 years on the floor, so fuck off, everybody.
Paid your dues. Yeah, that's right.
Ugh.
That does suck though. I always feel bad for the people having to do delivery work and all that kind of stuff, since so many of those trucks don't really have air. Or even if they do, you're in and out
But
of the
those
truck
guys
so
can wear
much that.
shorts.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's true. You're not probably a bad
Oh,
idea
it's
where
the
you work
code
to wear
too.
shorts. So
I mean,
yeah,
at my work, you got to wear pants, chaps, your cut shirt,
hmm,
gloves, hard hat.
right. Yeah, and by cut shirt you
I
mean like
wish,
cut
I
off at the
wish.
midriff.
At least because once again, Brian, I paid my dues. Mine has a zipper, so I can but most people's
Yeah.
don't. It's just a turtleneck. Because neck protection,
So you can.
Yeah,
Right, of course. Well,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, you're working with
yeah,
glass. For those who don't know, we're kidding around, but it's obviously a
for sure.
necessity to dress like that, because you could
Oh yeah,
get a horrible cut
oh
or
yeah,
a
it's
stab
definitely
wound or
happened.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I'm
but yeah.
sure.
So
Yeah.
I told you, I'm like, dude, we got to do it this weekend. There's no fight. And then I started thinking
Yeah.
about it, and I'm like, well, shit. My kids are coming over Friday night, so that's out.
Mm,
Saturday night,
right.
Zach, you remember Zach and Diana? They're coming in town.
Yeah.
They want to see
Yeah.
us, and I'm like, oh, that would be
Oh,
cool. And I was
nice.
like, shit. Well, that makes Saturday night out, and then Sunday night,
Right.
I'm going back to work. And
Yeah.
plus, it's like then we basically already missed a week. So it's like, fuck. That's why
Yeah.
I hit you up yesterday. I'm like,
Exactly.
how about tomorrow?
Yeah. Well, it's like I hit Heno up to see when he wanted to record, and we're gonna do. I don't even know what date it
Yeah.
is. Thursday. Okay. Yeah, we're recording tomorrow. So I was like, well, worst case scenario, if you say Friday, I've done it plenty of times where you and I
Right.
record and then I record with him, because he's hours behind us, so it kind of works out, decently. So, but when you said tonight, I was like, okay, that actually works better, because it's a little easier on
Oh, for
on the
sure.
voice and
Yeah.
stuff.
For
So,
sure.
yeah.
Well, now that we got all that
Yeah.
out of the way,
So,
how you been? How's your week?
not too bad. You know what's funny? I mentioned I've been playing Diablo
Yes.
4 a lot, and I was playing quite a bit again recently. And it's funny. Remember I told you, I was like, man, I've been playing for a long time and I'm not even out of the first act yet, right? Well, I'm in Act 3 now, because like I finished Act 1 and I was like, okay, there's probably going to be side missions, blah blah blah. Apparently, I had already done a bunch of the second act side missions. So basically, once I was done with the story of part 1 and I started following the story, it wasn't too long, and I was like, oh
Oh,
shit, I'm
damn,
done with
look at
Act
that.
2 already. Like, so I'm in Act 3 now, and now I was looking at the map and I'm like, oh, I got to be getting close to having all the areas explored. No, I've still got quite a bit of the map I haven't seen yet. So I was like, well, that's cool, because it, as much as I love playing it, I don't know if I'm gonna like do the grinds of playing over and over. I might try a couple other classes or something, but I'm not sure how much grinding I'm gonna do like normal, like in the
Right.
seasons and stuff. Because like in Diablo 3, I mean, I was Johnny, like pulling up the guides online, and they're like, you need this headpiece with this chest piece because it does this, and you socket these gems, and basically once you do, you're running around, and it's almost like playing Saints Row with full on
You just became the
superpowers.
Doom guy.
Like it's
Yeah.
yeah, it gets insane. I mean, there's still a challenge because you can up the difficulty a lot, but also it just gets ridiculous what's going on the screen. So I don't know, but I was thinking about, plus I'm not really playing it with anybody, you know, and some of the stuff that would be fun would be doing some of the
Right.
world stuff, that's available. But anyway, it got me to thinking a little bit, and I kind of think I understand a little bit maybe why my anxiety ramps up more with games now than it used to. And I think a lot of it is because a lot of these games I used to play, usually Jen would be in the room with me and I'd kind of be talking to her while I was playing the game. So that kind of dissipates the anxiety, or it'll be something I'm playing online like you and I are playing, or my nephew and I would play Diablo together a lot. So even when the game gets kind of intense, we're cracking jokes or just shit talking or whatever.
Salty Language, the free version on YouTube sometimes when we game. The Church of Salty Language, that's what it's called. The Church.
Church of Salty Language.
The Church of Salty Language. Now you're not wrong, because like you know, my game currently still is Helldivers, and playing by myself, it's just it's almost sometimes it gets a little too intense. But when you're like, you know, when you're with a couple of my buddies and you hear people screaming and then you see them running by on fire and shit, you know, you're like, you know?
Yeah. Right. Well, and like I said, you know, we shit talk the game a little bit while we're playing at times too, you know. And it changes, and I don't do that so much when I'm playing by myself, you know. Not like, fucker, eat, you know, get
actually,
some
I do
kind
do
of thing, right? You know. I do it, but not like I do when I'm playing with others.
Fair.
I way more. Yeah. Because it was kind of funny because I was thinking the other night when I was playing, I was like, I haven't faced like a real like boss yet. Like, you know, the difficult boss, you know? And then like whatever mission I was on, the next part of it, it was basically like a big thing happens and then it's like, oh shit, I'm fighting this massive demon thing. And I'm like, okay, well, it's on, I guess. And, you know, I handled business, but it was still, you know, it was intense for a little bit there. And then, you know, after that, I'm like, okay, time to get into a city, you know, and put the controller down for a couple minutes
have a
and
quick
come
breathe,
back.
maybe have a little cry.
Yeah, you know, go refresh my drink and come back. And like last night though, I was like, man, I have no side quests. Like, well, I guess I'll just do the story stuff. And as I'm going toward the one story stuff, I go into this part of the map and then it's like, oh, here's like 6 side quests that just opened up. I'm like, okay, here we go. You know, now I'm back to, you know, but I'm also looking at it going, like, I'm looking at some of the earlier things and I'm like, I missed some of the side quests. So I might go back and see if I can find them. Although I know in the last one, sometimes, however the map spawned, it didn't always spawn all the side quests.
It's
like sometimes there'll be like a vendor you have to help or something. And this part of the map, when it spawned, there were different ways it could spawn. So you would get one of 3 or whatever potential, you know. So I don't know if that's the case in this one or not, but whatever. I'm not like full on completist of the game, but I also am kind of like,
well, yeah, of course. I mean, I get missions. That, you know.
But I've been going through dungeons.
What about dragons?
And since last week, I've since.
Damn it.
No. Actually, I killed a couple things that are similar to
wyverns,
dragons, but they're demons. Yeah. But I've completed probably 4 or 5 more of the stronghold things. So remember, I was like, I don't know about approaching those. Now I'm like, fuck you, let's do it. Because I beat a couple, and I'm like, okay, these are not. I thought strongholds were going to be like uber hard, and they're not. They're just another. They're difficult, but they're, you know, because usually you'll have to, in a lot of them, you'll have to beat multiple kind of mid-level bosses, you know, that are at your difficulty or a little higher. So, you know, it's a challenge, but it's not undoable.
Can you have a dance off?
So
yeah, like demons,
no,
you just got
anyway.
served.
Yeah.
All the zombies. Oh.
You're using a necromancer. You and all your zombie guys just start doing the thriller dance.
Instant win.
Instant win right there.
I mean, I love the idea of a necromancer dance champion that just like he like raises his crew, you know?
Right? Like, oh, like the demon's like, let's see what you got. Be like, oh, okay. Like, boom.
Hell yeah.
Like, oh shit, I didn't know you had your
crew. He's got a little
with you.
illusion magic. You can make him light up like the Jabberwockies. They can do some cool dances. Yeah, right.
Awesome. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, you walk into the room, and instead of like just the gates falling up behind you, like the gates do that in a disco ball kind of thing comes down, lights start going off.
The gate just half drops because it turns into a DJ deck.
Yeah. Like, there's only one way to defeat me. You must outdance me. Like, oh shit, son. You don't know who you're fucking with.
I love this idea for a fucking like D&D villain.
Motherfucker, don't you know they call me the Necrodancer?
Shit, Necrodancer. This is the best. I love this idea a lot. Fucking Necrodancer.
Right. My idea.
That's awesome.
Hey, I got the next Diablo update.
I love it.
The new class, Necrodancer. Like, he does 0 damage. I mean, physical damage. It's all mental. He just destroys you. Just ruins you because you think you're.
But you realize
good at dancing,
you're not.
Him and his crew just.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's not break dancing. It's break your soul dancing.
That's awesome. I guess for my video game update or whatever, Helldivers ended up saving the children, Brian. They did, and it's funny because the game developers donated money to a children's charity which is nice.
That's cool. Yeah. Now I assume that they should ramp up the difficulty on what was it, anti-tank?
Yeah, the anti
things you were supposed to get, like tanks.
Dude,
should be even more difficult.
The new DLC
now.
came out. It's amazing, though. I feel like a G.I. Joe character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, free-ish. I have all the credits ground out already. You know.
Oh, right. I forgot.
But I mean, my dude's helmet has a red beret on it. It's like sleeveless camouflage. He's got tats. It's all about like jungles and shit. It's great. No, the capes rule. They got like snakes on them. They're all camouflage because they're Viper Commandos. It's fucking great. Oh my god, throwing knives, Joe, meth boosters.
What?
It's amazing. They're not.
Oh man. What? You can boost.
Well,
you can boost your
you have stims in the game which heal you, so you like stick it. You're not gonna.
Oh yeah, right.
And it gives you a little bit of invincibility when you do that. Well, the new booster, which is something you can have in your loadout, which you bless everybody in your party with, so everyone picks a different one. So we all get different powers. Everyone's calling it the meth booster because you stab yourself, and your screen turns like yellow, and it kind of like illusions weird. But your dude runs faster. He's invincible longer, and you get the shakes.
So it is kind of like.
But it is amazing. When you start getting beat down, you're just like, you just sprint away real fast.
That makes great, tons of sense. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. Yeah. In Diablo, one of the pieces of equipment I have is like when you take so much damage, like a bubble forms around you, and basically as long as you're in the bubble, you can't be killed. So it's unfortunately you can't run away. You have to stay in the bubble. But if you could run, it'd be similar in that it's like you can't handle this while I'm in the bubble, but it just gives your health a chance to climb back up. Basically, is all it's for. But it's real helpful when there's like 90 enemies on the screen with you. You're like, I'm just gonna stand in here. You can't touch me in here. I can shoot through it though. So I can still harm things, but you can't hurt me.
Also, my new favorite secondary weapon, the Bushwhacker.
Is it from New Zealand? And
kinda. It's kind of like that.
Does it lick?
It definitely does. It's a sawed-off triple barrel shotgun that you can fire all 3 barrels at once. Yeah. It's amazing. God, the game's fun.
All right. Is it like a one thing?
Not
and then
even
a long
like you can fire the barrels individually, and then you can if you fire one, you can just reload one. But if you fire all 3, it's really not that much of a reload.
It just feels like that's how most games would do it. Be like, you can get that giant punch, but it's going to take you like an hour and a half to reload.
You can just meth up and run away and reload.
What am I thinking?
Come on, Brian.
Sorry, I always forget about the meth.
You know what I was really hoping we were going to do this week? Because I haven't told you this because I'm going to tell you on the show. I was hoping we're going to go live this week. but my tree in the back of my house fucked it up for everybody. So, last week I tried T-Mobile internet because, fuck, that cable sucks.
Yeah.
So I get the T-Mobile 15-day free trial. It's going to save me money. I hook it up. It's like weird. You got to have a receiver. They recommend putting it in the second floor by a window. You pull up an app and you aim it towards the nearest tower. And then it's got like a repeater on it because it's like mesh Wi-Fi, right? And on...
Right. Or it's an old style rifle. Yeah.
And on some days, the internet was amazing. It was like fast what we had. Yeah. The uploads were faster. I was like, damn. But other days, it was the worst shit ever. And I'm like,
oh, geez.
Right, so I'm kind of bitching about this. And I remember this conversation I had with my brother-in-law when he was like, you should call Buckeye because his dad lives in my neighborhood. He's like, Dad just got fiber. Yeah. And they're charging him like $40 a month. And I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
So I call Buckeye. I'm like, hey, here's my address. Is fiber available? And they're like, yes, it is. It's going to cost you exactly what you're paying per month right now. And I went, do you guys have any deals? So they're going to knock my bill down to like $50 a month for 3 months for $400 up and $400 down. And then it bumps up to like $70 a month. And then it's the normal rate. So I get 6 months of a discount. No.
Unlimited. Data cap or no?
Right.
Wow. Okay.
But
interesting.
The box the dude needs to access is so buried in a tree that I have to cut limbs out of it before they can come install it. How fucked up is it? Because they were here last summer installing that shit. You think they would have been like, hey, we should knock these limbs out of the way.
Right. Yeah. Or at least tell you, like, hey, in the event that you're going to want fiber, you're going to want to trim some of this shit off this tree.
Yeah, because like I had it all set up. The guy was here Monday at like 8 a.m. I was at work, but Michelle's handled it. And then she's like, hey, can you call me? And then that was the whole thing. I was like, fuck. So I think, my weekend's so fucking busy. I think Sunday her dad's coming over and we're going to hack some limbs out of there. So hopefully I can get those guys out next week.
Well, on the upside, it's supposed to cool off on Sunday to like 89.
I'll probably need to put jeans on, honestly.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. It's supposed to be less humid at least. So hopefully, 80. High 80s with no humidity is not unbearable. It sucks, but it's not unbearable. But
basically, once my discount runs out, if I want to pay exactly what I'm paying now, I just downgrade it, but still 200 up, 200 down. Which I pay for 200. I've never achieved it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious. I was really hoping T-Mobile was going to work because I wanted nothing but more than to call Buckeye and be like, hey, fuck you guys. But I can't I can't turn that down. It's too good.
Yeah. That's been the issue with our area is because nothing's been able to come in and offer better service. If I lived closer
to the T-Mobile tower, it probably would have been great. Because according to their website, they were like, well, the minimum's like 70, the max you'll get is probably 350, 400. I was like, oh shit. And even when the internet was shitty, it was still double or triple the upload I'm getting right now. Because I don't know why Buckeye's upload sucks, but it does.
I don't know, but it's strangled
horrible.
Severely. Yeah. That's why, like, I've talked with Henno about that, and when I've told him what our upload is, and he's like, "That's it." And I was like, "Yeah, it's it's what he gets out there is way different." But he has forgot what it is, but it's like satellite stuff, so they don't have the same upload issue. I have no idea why. It's not just us. I mean, I've listened to things like podcasts where they talk about in the US, like upload speeds are just strangled. That basically, if you want high upload, you have to pay through the nose in most areas, and it's like, because most people just need download, because you're just streaming stuff, meaning watching, but it's like, if you want to upload anything, playing video games or like with what we're doing right now, where there's an up and a download going on at the same time.
So when they told me those numbers, I'm like, oh, we're fucking we're going live again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So coming soon, Salty Language Live once again. whenever I can get some fucking mulberry branches out of the way.
Yeah. Right. I mean, my shit's supposed to be faster than it was before. I have higher upload and download now, but it's still not much,
That's all.
But it's better than it was.
Do you know if fiber's in your area yet? I mean,
no, I haven't even checked.
Yeah,
so
it's like
I'd have to
worth
ask.
a phone call at least. Because just do what I did. Hey, you got any deals?
Yeah. Oh, it's totally what I would do. I learned that anyway because like when I was in Buckeye talking with the guy, he made that comment that was like, yeah, if your bill's too high, he's like, always call us and see if we have something we can do. He's like, because we run deals. He's like, even if it's for 3 months, he's like, we save you money for 3 months or something. And I was like, yeah, that's not good enough, but it's a start,
So
yeah,
kind of a want. So I still got to pack up my T-Mobile shit. That I could just take it to a T-Mobile store though, which I think is nice.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Just say
it was weird though. I'm like, wow. So I don't know how a cell receiver is faster than my wired internet.
Yeah, that's
and even
so strange,
the repeater I had, it's got 2 Cat 5 ports in the back, and I plugged.
Yeah.
Oh God, I almost just threw up. That was gross. I had one wrap too many tonight for dinner. My PlayStation directly into the Cat 5 port, and I was getting faster, speeds than I was getting from my normal hookup. It was weird.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, this is off a cell tower. Huh.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with fiber. I assume over time Buckeye's going to make that mandatory, I would think. Similar to like when they went to the high, whatever they're using now. Remember before when it was still dial-up or whatever it was? And then eventually they were like, hey, we're doing away with that.
I would
we're
assume
going this way. I assume fiber's coming,
yeah,
but it'll
I'm
be
assuming
down the
that's
road
going to be
still.
just a new norm eventually.
That because it should be better across the board.
I mean, you can get like stupid plans, like 600 up, 600 down, but I mean, who honestly needs unless you're running some sort of multimedia type situation? Who really needs that? But yes, right.
I mean, me. I needs all my my streaming to be extra
crispy
crisp.
streaming.
That way it never drops in quality. I guess. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, speaking of streaming, I watched I finished Death Note. I have some real issues with the ending. I mean, I can talk to you separately about that so we don't spoil anything for anyone, but I don't feel like the ending was written as well as it could.
I don't know if I ever finished it, I'll be honest. It's been so long.
Okay. Well then. Yeah. But the first arc of the show is better than the second arc of the show. Like the first arc is really, really, really good. And the second part is like a little, I don't know. It's got issues. I almost feel like they could have finished it in a different spot and it would have been like chef's kiss, I feel like continuing it was maybe not the best idea, but it's still very good across
the Watchtower or something.
Yeah. And then I saw I wasn't alone. Like when I started reading like on IMDb and stuff, a lot of people had very similar issues that I had to it, but but still really good. But yeah. Then I was like, well, when am I going to start now? And I was like, you know what? I need to go. I haven't watched season 2, the second half of season 2 of Invincible. Because remember, I told you before, they put up 5 episodes and then it was on break for like a year. And they put them up and I just hadn't watched them. So I went through and watched all those, and that show's excellent. I love that show. But so now I'm through the end of that, and The Boys started, so I watched the first 3 episodes of that. It's weird. I'm seeing people online, they're like, this season's boring, and I'm like, okay. Like, sometimes you gotta build.
Is this officially the last season? Next season.
No, next season will be the last season. Yeah, the showrunner announced that season 5 will be the final season, which also is interesting because like we talked before about how each season you're like, how are they gonna the ante, and it's like, okay, well now I think there's only 8 episodes in this season, and 3 were released right off the rip. So I was like, oh shit, I've almost watched half the season already. And it's like, so I'm curious to see how some things resolve going forward. I mean, again, no spoilers in case
I have not watched it yet.
Watched or not, but okay. It's good. They introduced a couple new characters that are very interesting, and Homelander's still
Homelander being Homelander.
It's the part that is cracking me up the most is they very much thinly veil Homelander supporters as basically Trump fans.
Yeah.
Right. And Trump fans are very much getting pissed at the show because they've seen Homelander as a hero. And from the beginning, Homelander has been anything but a hero. He is not to be worshipped. He's a shitbag from minute 1, basically. And they're getting all butter. It's similar to the people who were like, Rage Against Machine just needs to stay out of politics. Like, those kind of people. And it's like,
are you guys really that crazy?
Yeah. And so they very much ramp that up in this season. Again, that's not really a spoiler. It's pretty, you're not going to be shocked by that anyway. They kind of started it last season.
Must be a cat outside.
So yeah, so it just makes me laugh that there's actually people that are like, this season went woke, and it's like, have you paid attention? Like, do you understand satire?
You brought up a code word for me because I got something I wanted to talk about. So you said the word woke. Are you aware, Brian, that there's anti-woke water out there?
Okay, what makes it anti-woke?
It's called Freedom 2.0. This is like, I saw this yesterday. I looked at Michelle and I'm like, we need a scam that we can trick right-wing conservatives into buying.
Jesus Christ.
So it's what is it? Freedom 2.0.
Again? Freedom what?
I'm not even. I should pull up their actual website, but I'm afraid to.
Yeah,
It says the label tells consumers that water isn't free, but your speech is. That drinking the water is an act of rebellion.
Oh my
God. A 12-pack costs $21, by the way.
Okay.
Every sip of the water is refreshing, rebellious, and unapologetic.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah. Okay, so I'm on
going
their
to their website next, but yes.
And they have this big thing that says "Speak your thirst, protect the first."
God.
And O's have like they've been shot. And
of course, because guns. Dude, I don't.
Oh my
I'm
God.
I'm not against guns, but I'm against a lot of people that have them.
I'm against obsession and of things
unapologetic
like that. I don't feel.
Yeah, I mean, so I just saw this. I was like, God, we need a racket.
Oh my God, this feels like such.
It does, doesn't it? Like it should be on Mad TV.
Yeah. Now I will say this: if it's satire, it's even smarter.
It's not though.
Money off
it's the official
really
water of Turning Point.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I mean, it's insane to me.
Oh my God.
Every 12-pack comes with fun labels that get the conversation started. What does that mean?
Oh, it's gonna have like sayings of theirs that will infuriate your friends.
Like that's what I just want to know.
Who knows,
right?
I
can kind of read it. It's like it looked like one of them said something about liberal tears. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't even want to talk about like politics and shit, but this was just so stupid to me.
Yeah.
That I.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said it's like it's either. That's why I said until you pointed out the Turning Point thing, but because if it's with them, then that's stupid. But if it was, I could see doing it the other way. Like if someone
Oh,
like
yeah,
The
for
Onion
sure.
made it, right? And marketed it, and it would sell. It'd be no different than like Colbert on the Colbert Report. You know, it's like they found after a while the conservatives were actually turning him on for news. And it's like, this is totally satire. He's literally making fun of you to your face, and you think he's being serious. That's so like that could be could have been a legit a thing where somebody was just like, let's just exploit these
I would. Like, I'm looking at this picture now. It just says, you can't deprogram freedom on the bottle. And it's like, water for red-blooded Americans. Electrolytes. It's what plants crave.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I'm sorry. A 24-pack is $39. You know what? I went and got a 48-pack of water from Costco for $3. So...
Yeah, I was going to say... 40-pack at Kroger's
there's
like
nothing more American right now than saving money.
Yeah.
This water will wake you the fuck up. Oh, so yeah, here it is. This water isn't sleepy with a Biden outline. It's just they're trying too hard.
That's what made me feel like it was satire at first, because it was so over the top. But you
why does this lady's bottle say "sip for dick"? Oh, Richard Nixon, really?
Wow. Okay. I mean, they do have a water bottle that's called their trigger sprayer. Like it's a spray thing that screws onto the top of your bottle of water.
Like I said, I don't like talking about this shit, but at the same time, it's like, what are we doing? Like, all I can think of is Tim Robbins, you know? What is this world? What are they doing to us?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, see, here's something weird. Because then the FAQs, it says, is Freedom 20 Freedom Water environmentally friendly? And I feel like the anti-woke answer
Hell
to that
no.
is, like, who fucking cares? Their answer is, yes, we are committed to sustainability and environmental responsibility, striving to minimize our carbon footprint and promote eco-friendly practices. That does not fit their the rest of the
All I know,
website.
Brian, is I would rather drink Liquid Death because it's way more metal.
Right. And also someone was like, can I recycle the bottles? And they said absolutely.
Absolutely not. You can recycle them as fucking targets on your range.
Yeah. That's why I said it's like, I feel like this is a legit product, but I feel like this is a very satirical
I don't know, man.
website. Like, I feel like you can buy it, but it's weird that it has the... I don't know.
Can we come out with some pink lemonade and call it like commie water or something?
We can do whatever we want. I've said that for years. Like, it wasn't about politics, though. It was just about rich people and what they're willing to use as like health regimens or whatever, or food that rich people eat, you know? And I was like, for years and years, I'm like, God, what dumbass thing could we come out with and be like, you know, using this will rejuvenate your skin and keep you 50 years younger? And somebody will probably
I have a product I have plenty of, because Bomber shits immensely. Like, use this face cream. Like, oh, it smells terrible. That's how you know it works.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. That's how you know it's working.
From Tree Sap from deep in the Amazon.
Yep. Our naturally occurring serum expressed from the glands.
Exactly. Idiots. Anywho, I had a nice little weekend, my guy. So I did something I haven't done in a very long time. I had way too much to drink on Saturday.
Oh,
well,
boy.
you know, some of my coworkers were like, "Hey, guy, you want to go to this thing called Beer and Bacon Festival?" And I was like, "I've never been to that." Yes, I do want to go to this.
Yeah.
And so, Michelle dropped me off because we were going to do lunch with me and the boys beforehand. And I sit down at the bar and I'm like, Cock and Bull downtown, which I didn't know they had food. Wasn't bad, a little salty, but
I didn't either.
And I'm like, oh, Melon Ball IPA. It's 1 o'clock. Melon Ball IPA. I don't know what that is, but I'll try it. That sounds good. And then she's like, okay. And I'm the only one in there. And she drops a snifter in front of me. I'm like, what the fuck? Here I am whacking down a 9.5% right off the rip. Like, God, God damn it.
That's right.
So yeah, so everyone else, yeah, I know, right? The rest of my dudes showed up, and like we finished lunch. Yeah, we finished lunch, and we still had an hour before the fest opened. So they're like, well, why don't we get one more beer to go and just walk around? So we ended up at another bar, had some more drinks, including a Jaeger bomb, which was a terrible idea. And then it was to the festival, which was fun. Very small. I think that's the smallest beer fest I've ever been to in my life.
Yeah, it's not very big. Yeah. That was one of the things I liked about it was the year. I mean, it's been, God, how many years since that one I went to? It's been a while. But it was one of the early years of it. And I was like, this is awesome because it's small and not incredibly cramped.
And me being the beer fest veteran I am, I had my backpack of Stacks, big bottle of water.
Yeah.
All of which I gave to other people.
Yeah.
Me? Funny. Nah, I'm good.
Well, when we went, I didn't so much need snacks because they had, just various
bacon. You got to pay for that.
Go inside and get.
I
know, but they were
didn't have any bacon.
Still worth trying them.
None?
What? You went to a beer and
I started having
festival,
beers, and I was like, I should get some of that bacon. I just kept having beers, and then things started to fade.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of where I was starting to get. And then when we went outside, there was somebody I don't remember, it was hot dogs or sausages. And Jeremy was like, we should probably eat something that's not just a random couple pieces of bacon. And I'm like, you are correct. So him and I got whatever it was, a hot dog or sausage, whatever it was. And then I was a little okay until later, till we met with you guys at the Tin Can. And then it all went sideways because Keith kept handing me those giant dumb PBRs.
Things were fading to him at that point, man. And then like I suddenly we're at the bar we went to after lunch, and I'm like, oh, we're here. That's cool, And I had drinks there, and then suddenly I'm home. It was weird, Like I had a nice conversation with Curtis, my Lyft driver, on the way home, and then Monday at work, everyone's like, what's up, life at a party? Apparently I dragged a traffic cone for 2 blocks like like I'll do.
Yeah, you'll do that. Yeah.
It was a good time though. And I actually, when I woke up Sunday morning, I felt surprisingly fine.
Right. Well, it's because you started off with a 9%er. See, most people end with the 9%ers. You got to, your takeoff gear needs to be strong. That way it sets you up for the whole day.
For sure.
Yeah. You don't need landing gear, so
I
you'll
got
figure
home.
something
Michelle
out.
said I just kind of ping-ponged up the hallway and then sat down. It was only like 10:30 or something like that. And then I woke up on the couch just sitting up at 4:30 in the morning with all the lights on. I'm like, what's that? And I asked her, I'm like, what happened? She's like, well, I went to bed, and I asked you, are you coming to bed? And you said, yeah. So I didn't turn the lights off, and then you just never came to bed.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. All right. That does track. That does track.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was fun though. It was cool. A lot of those guys I work with, it's the first time they've ever been to one of those. And then other people I work with,
it's a fun.
They've been to them before. Like
event,
my old supervisor and her wife, they go to them all the time, but they never go with friends. And they're like, we would have left so early if you guys weren't here. Because I was like, how was your guys' festival? Wow. And they were both like, or she was like, yeah, neither one of us remember getting in our Uber. We got home. We had friends come over for a pool party. She's like, I don't know what time they left. We all got fucked up, dude.
Oh my.
I remember having my punch card fully punched, and I just walk up to a table and be like, hey man, I'm out of punches, but can I get that beer? And they just served me.
That's funny. Well, that was one of the things that was weird about it. Like when we went was, you get X amount with your entry, and then you had to go inside to they had just somebody standing there at a cash register basically, and you had to buy more. But I was like, I don't have any cash, oh, we take card. I'm like, okay, but I don't know how many I want. And, it's like, I just missed the chip
the poker
situation,
chips or whatever.
Yeah, well, I'm just meaning more that, the chips are like 50 cents or whatever. I think they were like $1 a piece there or something like that.
I just use the power of charisma.
Yeah, well, well, you know how it is. We've been to plenty of beer fests later in the day. Usually,
they don't want to take
shit about the cards
quarter
anymore.
of a keg home. So,
right, we found that out downtown when we went to that one. To where we still had tons of punches, and they were like, "Nah, don't worry about it." We're like, "No, seriously, punch the card." But like,
it was good, clean fun, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was. That's one that.
Yeah.
We should do that next year.
I bought a koozie that looks like bacon.
Nice. They didn't really, I don't think they had much merch when we were there, but it was like the inside of the building because it's in the Polish
at the
area,
Hungarian Center. Yeah.
Hungarian. That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Hungarian Center.
Which is in the fucking hood, by the way.
It is, yeah. But when you went inside, they have all the bacons, and they had a couple other kinds of food, I think, in there too. But then there's like this one side of the place that's just like flea market of.
Oh, I don't even know if I saw that.
They just had some vendor with. Oh yeah, they just had this vendor. I mean, me and Jeremy were walking around it like, what is all that? Like, but people were buying the little tchotchkes and shit from it, but it wasn't like beer and bacon fest stuff. It was just things, that I assume are there all the time, like crafts that people who are part of the Hungarian club make and stuff like that. So I was like, this is so weird, but it was cool. It was fun. We talked to a guy that used to be a city councilman, was Peter Uvagi, I think's his name, that was a city councilman in Toledo, and he's like one of the top guys running it. And we stood and talked with him for, God, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. And he was just asking us what we liked, what we didn't like, that kind of stuff. And then it started raining, and we got trapped under a tent with this old dude who was just killing us with like a mix of dad jokes and very inappropriate.
I mean, you'll have
jokes.
that full people.
Yeah, but he was, and honestly, I think that's what stopped me from getting wrecked was when it was pouring like that. We weren't really walking around anymore, so I kind of, started cooling off. Otherwise, we would have probably kept walking around. I would probably kept.
So it's all gone. It's all lost. But it was still fun. I'm just glad I didn't wake up feeling like death. Although I'm not gonna lie, Monday morning at work, I was like trying to do my morning Excel shit, and my brain was just. I'm like, dude, I'm still fuzzy, man.
Right.
It's that getting old.
Did they have a lot of bacon?
I had a brisket beer.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was.
That's different. Okay. Because when we were there, it was like everybody seemed to have like
very little of that. It was all like summer beers and,
Yeah. That's easier. Yeah. Because I think the intent originally was that all the breweries were supposed to have a beer type beer. And there were a couple that were really good, but there were also a lot of them that were not great. Because it's just, you get like liquid smoke.
That's kind of what the brisket one was. I was just like, it was so smoky. I'm like this pour is good. A pint, hell no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell no. Yep.
And then fucking last night we tried to play music bingo because they do it at Inside the Five. That's now up the road from me at the field house.
Oh yeah, right.
And it seems like it's fun, but the hosts are so annoying. It's like these little old ladies, and you get a bingo sheet, and it's got a list of songs, and they play the song. You mark it off if you have it. You play bingo.
Right.
But here's what they would do. They'd be like, they'd have them, and the field house is huge. So we were kind of sitting around the corner. These are like comfy leather chairs because they're better for her. And it'd be like, all right, the next song's going to be in the B column. And then like there'd be this automated message. It'd be like, B column, listen for it. And then
like they were trying to do a
kinda, and then the song would start
situation.
playing, and then like and at first I was like, and they did it every song, and I'm just like, why can't they just play the songs? Why are you telling me what column?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, if you got a message, why are you announcing it? Pick one or the other, stupid. And I mean, like I said, it looks like it could have been fun, but we were there because, well, one, starving too. We hadn't had dinner, and the food truck never showed up.
Yeah.
So we're like, we look at each other and we're like, I'm going to go cash out. Let's get the fuck out of here. We got to go eat. End up at Doc Watson's, which one of my faves, love.
Nice.
Our waitress, big lady. I'm not talking like rotund, but she was just like really tall, just a big woman.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's talking loud. She's like, I'm sorry, I'm really hard of hearing. So, like, all right, it's no problem. She was cool, but I'm like, yeah, it's no problem, whatever. As we're walking in, they have a big poster on the door that they have Great Lakes Lake of the Lager, $3 a can. I'm like, that's a bargain, and like low ABV because I just had a flight at inside of 5. I'm like, that's perfect. So she's like, hey, can I get you drinks? I'm like, yeah, I'll take a Lake of the Lager. She's like, what? And I'm like, a Lake of the Lager? And I see her look over this way. And she's like, oh, okay. I'm like, all right. So they bring Michelle her pop, and then, like, I'm still waiting. And she's like, oh, your beer's ready. She comes by, drops a snifter in front of me. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, so I'm like, huh. And I'm looking at the color, and I smell it. I'm like, and I start looking at the chalkboard. She gave me a Lake Erie Monster. And I'm like, and I'm like,
that's a big difference.
And I'm like, yes, it is. Like it's another 9.5.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought. I was like, that.
And I'm like,
that's a beast.
And I'm not gonna it's a great beer. I'm not gonna deny it.
It is.
But I'm like, well, one, this is way more than I wanted to spend on another beer. But I'm like, whatever,
Fair. Yeah, especially when you're looking at a $3 can.
But I get buffalo mac and cheese, which they got the stuff they're called Gordo sauce. It tastes like my buddy's barbecue sauce he makes. So I kind of want to decipher what's in it. So I actually asked for 2 cups to take home. But I get my bill, dude. That pour of Lake Erie Monster was $5.50. That was it.
Oh, that's it.
That's what I was. I was just like, oh shit, that's a great price for this. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, exactly. And she was like, she's like, oh, you guys need to come back and see me. I love having fun with my cousin. Big crazy lady. But she was cool, so I can't whatever.
Right, man, that shit happens. Yeah, at least she brought you a good beer.
Dude, when that snifter got dropped off, I was like, I'm sure I was like visible confusion.
For anyone listening who doesn't know, like in our area especially, like when they deliver a snifter of beer instead of like a pint glass, it's usually because I know in Ohio they used to, I don't know if it's still a law, they can't serve more than a certain amount of ounces of a certain percentage ABV. Like that's a 9% or whatever, 9.5, whatever you said. It's like they can't serve you a pint glass of it, for multiple reasons. It's bad call anyway, because people could get super shit faced, but also a pint glass of that's going to, a lot of those beers, a pint glass of that would be like $12. Well, so I mean,
I've definitely had beers like that served in pint glasses, and I go hee, and I run away from the bar.
Right. Well, we've also had some times where at the end of the night we're like, dude, I don't know, like, oh, this is a bad idea, but we still finish them or try to.
That was a nice little experience at Doc Watson's, though. But I kind of want to try Music Bingo again, but the next time you come over here, we should head over to that field house so you can check it out. It is fucking so nice in there. Yeah. And plus they got like 18 taps. Yeah.
Right. Well, and I was going to say it's inside the 5, so there's no disappointment there.
Big fan. Yeah.
Because as much as I love Ernest, I've had some real hit or miss beers there. There's been some real misses.
Inside 5, they got 2 Star Wars beers right now. They're both pretty good. They're both like barrel-aged reds. Nice. Yeah, they're pretty tasty.
Yeah. It was like I keep looking at the place up the road, and he hasn't really posted a whole lot that I've been excited about through the summer. Like the last 2 beers he's had have been more like fruit beers, which I get. It's summer, But I'm not like one of them's a peach beer.
Do you
and
like
I don't
pineapple?
really like peach that well.
Okay.
It depends on where it's at on the scale.
Heavy pineapple.
Okay, probably not. I might though. You never know.
We found out about Music Bingo because on Sunday the Fieldhouse does a farmers market. So we did Father's Day breakfast, and then we after that I was like, well, let's go check out the farmers market, and there was like one guy selling vegetables that were all sus because his watermelons had stickers on them, and I'm like, yeah, don't put stickers on their shit.
Have stickers.
And then there was every other tent was like people selling. Well, yeah,
I would if I was a farmer, but
we call them stukers.
I'd be like Farmer
There
Stew,
you go.
sweet
Yes.
melons.
Everyone
Yeah.
else is selling like, hot sauce or trinkets or whatever. But then Michelle's like,
Yeah,
well, let's
right.
go inside so I can see what it looks like in there. I'm like, all right. And I'm looking in their cooler, and they had a 4-pack of this stuff right here. It's called training wheels. And I'm like, man,
Okay.
I've never had that before. And I look, it's on the beer board, and I'm just like, can I just get a taste of that, right? And I'm like, it's like drinking pineapple juice. And then I find out it's because it's called a Radler. So it's 50% wheat beer, 50% juice. So it's a really low ABV, and it tastes amazing. I ended up filling a growler of it because I was about ready to get the 4-pack, and I'm like, duh, I always have growlers in my car. I'll be right back. Yeah, it's very good. If you're into pineapple. If you're not, you probably won't dig it. But yeah.
Right. It's one of those, like, you know me.
Oh, yeah. It's like a hot. This week, it's been perfect this week. It's so fucking hot.
Yeah. That was the thing the last time I cooked on the Blackstone. I was thinking about that. I'm like, man, I don't have any beer. It's like, perfect. Whiskey. And, I know, but you know what I mean? It's like, whiskey on a hot day is not the same as a nice cold beer. Yeah.
I know it sounds weird, but on a really hot day, a cold beer almost is better than water. I know it really isn't, but like for your soul, it is.
Right. Well, that's why I was like, God, I kind of wish I had some, whatever, banquets or something, just some easy drinkers that I can whack down, and just, while I'm out there, like, Cheeto mentioned when I sent you guys pictures of whatever it was I was making, and he was like, no beer, basically. And I was like, yeah, I just realized, like, I don't even have any casual beers here. It's like, I really should get a 12 or something. I
realized yesterday I need to keep like a 6-pack of Bud Light in my beer fridge just for her dad, because he came over to look at that tree and stuff, and I guess he wanted a beer, and I'm out. Yeah. All I have out there is like nice high ABV stouts that I've been hanging on to, right? Because I get home from work and I'm like, emptying my pockets. I'm in the kitchen. I look in the garbage can, and there's this like crushed Bud Light seltzer can in there, and I'm like, the fuck? And then it hit me. I'm like, oh, her dad came over today. And I was like, did your dad drink a Bud Light seltzer? And she's like, yeah, he didn't even know what it was. He said it was pretty good. I'm like, that thing's like over a year old.
Yeah. I mean,
she was like, he was like, oh yeah, he said it tasted fine. He didn't he didn't know what a seltzer was. He said it tasted fine and he liked it. And, but I was like, oh, thank God he didn't grab one of the beers out of my door. And she was like, he was thinking about it. And then I was like, oh, there's this up here, Dad. Because I'm like, he would have been been disappointed, because it would have been like a punch in the face. 2, he probably would have got hammered if he would have drank it all. And 3, I would have been disappointed, because I'll be like, well, where's my Dragon's Milk Reserve I was saving?
Well, and also on top of all that, like, you add that, like, a person who drank it, you're like, oh, they didn't even like it. It was like, I forgot who it was that was over here one time, and I cracked a beer, and they were like, oh, can I have, it was ones that my nephew had brought me. A friend of his had and didn't care for, and he brought them over, and they were fine, and he's like, oh, can I have one? And I'm like, I don't think you'll like this, because you're a Bud Light guy. Like, this is way hoppy. And he opened it and took a drink, and then goes over to the sink and just starts pouring it out. And I'm like, what are you doing?
That's like a $5 can.
Yeah. Like one of those beers is like, a case of what you drink.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, I've heard stories of cigar guys talking about that. Like, they have like their humidor nice cigars, and then they have the cigars that give people that don't really like cigars.
Well, you've seen it like when we were with Steve. Remember when Steve was like, the one time when he was like, do you guys want cigars? And he was like, oh, I got this really. I'm like, dude, just give me a decent one. I'm like, don't give me your best stuff. I won't appreciate it.
Like, but you're aware.
If I have one,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. I'm aware and I'm considerate, because I'm like, don't give me the good ones, because they're just wasted on me. Just give me something I can kind of, that's not going to be terrible, similar to beer. If somebody had a bunch of beers, I'd be like, give me, or not beer. I mean, like, remember when we've been over at Jeremy's and he was going to line us up with scotch. And I'm like, don't give me your high-end scotch. Give me whatever your cheap shit is, because I don't love scotch. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, so don't waste your what would probably be a $40 a pour type scotch on me. It's just a waste of money, you know. Well, you never know. I guess maybe it's something I could drink and be like, actually, this is really tasty.
Yeah.
Yes. Like my arms. Oh man. So a few days ago, we had there was like a storm that popped up here, and it it didn't seem that bad. And I was watching Monday Night Raw, and the power goes out for a couple minutes, it comes back on, and I'm like, whatever, and then like about 15 minutes later it goes out again, and I mean it's out. I pull up Consumers Energy outage map, and I'm like, oh boy, there's like 20,000 people without power. And I'm like, so we're sitting in the living room for a little while, and it was okay. It was just really stuffy, and it was like, man, this sucks. We can't even like open the windows because it's like 87 and humid outside.
I'm just like, just turn on a fan. Duh.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I will tell you this. I've been looking on Amazon. There's like camp fans that are USB chargeable that are supposed to be pretty decent, and I am gonna get one of those eventually. But anyway, so after a while, I looked at my mom and I'm like, maybe we should call my sister and see, because my sister lives like 5 minutes from us. Be like, maybe we should call Chris and see if we can head over to her house, until our power comes back on, because this is starting to get to me, So we did that when we went over to her house, and we got over there around, I don't know, 11:30 or something like that. And we get all set up basically, and she's like, okay, well, I got to go to bed because whatever, and all this, and we're watching some TV and whatever. And then around 1:30 I look at the outage thing again, and I'm like, I think our power's back on. And my mom's like, well, we don't have a way of telling unless we go home. And then I'm like, oh wait, yeah, we do, because we have a phone through the cable company. The phone can't work unless there's electricity. And we have an answering machine, so it can't go to the answering machine.
You guys still have an answering machine?
Obviously. Yeah. Well, it's the phone. The phone that we have. Wait a minute. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm like, well, I'll just call the house. So I call the house, get the answering machine. I'm like, well, there's my answer. I'm like, yeah, our power must be back on. So, about 1:30, they were projecting like 9 a.m. before the power would come back on. So around 1:30, we headed home, and my sister texted me the next day. She's like, I didn't even hear you guys leave. And I'm like, well, we were purposely trying to be quiet so we wouldn't wake anybody up,
Smoke bomb.
But yeah, then we came home, and yeah, and then it was fine. It was fine. It was funny though, because when we got home, the cat was very like, where the fuck were you?
Mind your business.
Like she's
mind your business, like, you little piece of shit. Mind your business.
Well, it was around bedtime, and she can't find her people to hurt them,
yeah, naturally.
So it messes her scenario up, because she's like, I can't go to sleep until I know where they're supposed to be, So yeah, I was like, when I got up the next day, I was like, man, there are still people, like, I don't know when they finally got it straightened out, but through Tuesday at least, I think almost into Wednesday, there were still people with no power. And it looks like it was just some really strong wind is what did it. It wasn't even lightning. It was just some very strong wind, apparently knocked out a
tree, takes
chunk
out a bunch of lines or something. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, right. It's just, I was fortunate that the area I was in, it was restored quickly.
Nice.
So, yeah. But yeah, not so fun when it's humid and stuff. And, it's weird though, because it kind of, you realize how privileged you are and how used to air conditioning you are, when all of a sudden now you don't, I mean, as you well know from a couple weeks ago, like you learn real quick, like, wow, we're really lucky that we had that. And that we also, I mean, I have a variety of people we could have called and gone over and stayed cool until that came back on. But, still fortunate that, my sibling lives that close that we could just dip over there for a couple hours and then come back home. Yeah. So that was something. But yeah. Did I Did I mention that when I was talking about the stuff that I watched, I forgot the newest thing I've been into. I've been watching the new season of Dark Side of the Ring. Man, you watch those and it's just, guys in the wrestling business are fucked up, and there was a lot of, especially in the 80s, there was a lot of really weird shit that went on. Yeah. But every season you're just like, man, could you hear these more stories of guys that you didn't know? Like some of them I knew, like the Brutus Beefcake one I watched the other night. Like I knew he got his face messed up really bad, because I remember that's why he was during one of his runs, and then he, and I was like, but I never heard the story of what happened. And it was like somebody was doing was it paragliding or whatever, and he was down in the water, and when he turned and looked, their knee smashed him right in the middle of the
that just gave me like that weird spine tingle.
Yeah, and I didn't know how bad it was. The plastic surgeon that fixed his face basically was like, everything from here to here was pretty much destroyed. Like his upper palate was resting on his lower palate.
Bomber.
Because everything above it that holds it, yeah, everything that holds it up was smashed. And the plastic surgeon was like, he was fortunate that the knee hit him right in the middle. He's like, because if it had hit him on either side, he would have lost that eye probably, or a sight in that eye.
Although, what's cooler than an eye patch?
I was like, oh my god.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He could have been the
British he was fortunate.
Buccaneer or something. No?
Probably not.
Okay, fine.
No. Brutus the eye patch
like
beefcake. Yeah.
No. Brutus.
Vince would have done something.
That's why I'm trying to think of a pirate themed one. He would have made him
for sure. Would have made
him
a pirate. Yeah. Well, you got to wear an eye patch anyways, bro.
It's brilliant.
Actually, he wouldn't have been able to wrestle. But and I didn't know also, like when he came back, that's why he had the barber shop. Because he had all that charisma, but he couldn't wrestle yet because the doctors were like, you really shouldn't wrestle because this could all get screwed up again, basically. Like you're fortunate you're alive. And
what if he actually pursued a career of haircutting?
That would have been really funny. He actually went and became a real barber. Yeah. Then his barbershop segment is he's actually giving a haircut
for real. Yeah.
Yeah. Giving them lineups and everything. Yeah. Yeah, but some of them have been very interesting. Like I said, like that I didn't know, and it's the next one should be because it's about Sandman, and I bet that's
he
going to be
spent
a
all
mess
that
of an
time in
episode.
that bubble. So,
no, not that Sandman. Metallica song, dummy.
That you talk about the guy who fought Spider-Man, right? I knew it.
Yeah, of course.
But first he was on
Sandman.
wings.
Here we go through.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh man. No, I'm talking about for those who know, the ECW wrestler who used to come out with a beer and a cigarette.
Also known as, they should have called him Step Sandman.
Seriously, man, because he would finish that beer off, finish his cigarette, and then go wrestle his match. Oh, I can't wait to watch that one. So there's that one, and then there's like the night that Vince I think took over WWF from his dad. I think those are the final 2 episodes. But did you know that Vice has a whole dark side of series?
No.
Like there's a dark side of comedy. There's a dark side of, I think, the 90s or music. There's like a few different ones.
Have you listened to Dark Side of Moon?
So I was going through.
Damn it.
No, I don't think that's from them. Although it would be funny if they did the dark side of the Dark Side of the Moon. Especially, there is some shit with Pink Floyd I'm sure they could talk about.
For sure.
Anyway. Yeah, they just had a special called Who Killed ECW? Or not ECW, I'm sorry, WCW the other day. Because, depending on who you listen to, it's this person's fault or it's this person's fault, so I'm curious to watch that and see
what happened,
how that turns out. Yeah. Well, because for a lot of, Eric Bischoff blamed Turner, and he also blamed Vince Russo for a lot of it. And Vince Russo blames Bischoff, and, so I'm curious kind of where they land on the whole thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know this about like Brutus Beefcake though. Like one last thing was him and Hulk Hogan were friends like way before they got into wrestling. Yeah, like back in when they were like teenagers, Hogan and his buddies used to work out at the beach, and Brutus used to just hang around. He was just that annoying younger dude.
Want to go get a cone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. And then when Hogan got into wrestling, he called him up and was like, hey brother, let's do this together kind of thing. And Hogan, basically everywhere Hogan went, he brought him along with him. Like Bischoff, I love Bischoff talked about it, and he's like, I called it the I think he said the Hulk Hogan or the Brutus Beefcake tax or the Hulk Hogan tax. I can't remember which he called it, which was if you brought Hogan, you knew you also were going to have to pay Beefcake because because Hogan was going to want him with him. But now they don't talk. Like they're not friends anymore, and nobody would go on the record.
You made fun of my hair, brother.
Yeah. You tried to give me a haircut when I wasn't looking, brother. Yep, you see this bald spot? That's his fault.
Yeah.
He ripped my hair right off my head. I actually was in one of the episodes. Somebody did that to someone who had a weave. Like a dude who was losing his hair, got a hair weave,
happens
basically.
Like
so
all the time in inner city schools, man.
But this was
that is a problem. At least he didn't rip off his merkin.
Yeah. Well, ripped off his head merkin,
Zing.
But anyway, yeah, those are always interesting to watch because, like I said, I know a decent amount about wrestling, but there's a lot of there's so many more stories than you ever could hear about some of these guys.
That'd be a great name for a podcast for Jay Moore. More stories. Yeah.
More stories?
Yeah.
More stories? Yeah.
More.
All right. We got one last thing before we move to the.
Lay it on me, dude.
Got something else here too. All right. Well, we watched the DC released an animated teaser for a Watchmen animated, and man, it made me tingle in my nethers.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, it looked pretty close to the
That's
source material
really
and everything
about
too. And I love the voice for Rorschach sounded like very similar to what I always imagined his voice as when I read the comics. I don't know why, but I'm and for those who've seen the movie, they're like, well, that's what he sounded like. Like, no, you have to understand, we read these books well before the movie. And when I read it, I always read him as kind of gravelly voiced, crusty dude. So it's kind of cool that when they did the movie, they kind of did that, and now they're continuing that. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm kind of curious because if you've watched a Watchmen movie and if you've read the book, the endings.
Wait, does that mean we're the answer to the question? Who watches the Watchmen?
We do. No, okay. But the end of the movie and the end of the book are different. So I'm really curious to see what they do in this. Yeah.
Which way?
Because they're both good.
Yeah. Yeah. I very much understand why they made the changes for the movie, but I agree with you. Yeah. I'm very curious to see too. Well, and also the HBO series kind of piggybacks off of what they did in the movie, keeping that as canon. So I'm with you. It's like, which way do you go with this? But either way, I'm in for it. The only downside is that, it was just a teaser and there's still no release date. They announced this project, I think, back in 2017 or something like that. Yeah, so it's like I want them to take as much time as they need
let
to
that
do
bread
it right
cook,
and
son.
do it well. But also, this is only for like part 1 and 2 because again, for those who know, I mean, it's a graphic novel.
Yeah,
it's
a
pretty thick read. So I assume there's going to probably be 4 parts to it, or at least 3.
Interesting.
So the other question will be, like how exaggerated are they going to go with the blue dong?
God, I hope it's amazing.
Like just massive.
Exactly.
It's just the only thing on the screen instead of Dr. Manhattan. It's
like,
just
is he using his powers to make his dick bigger? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's what he should have done, was every time he showed up, his dick should have just been bigger and bigger.
Until it's not, and then he's like, I've transcended past dick size. Yes. Dick size is but a fallacy. Get it?
I see what you did there. Fallacy. Yeah. All right. Well, we should get into the Q of the W probably. You said you don't have anything else, right?
Last week we asked you all if you could change your height. What would you change it to and why? Steve Zero here on the old Insta says, does everything scale? Like, if I want to be a foot taller, does my dong gain a few inches? If that's the case, send me to the fucking moon. That's funny.
Just so he can be 5 inches.
Kiki says, shorter like 4'8" mark. To be tiny, obnoxious like my inner goblin. Not sure if that's the same Kiki that hits us up on Facebook, I would assume, but
I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's Heno's friend Kiki.
It must be, because Kiki on Facebook says, I want to be a short, angry goblin girl.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, I guess that's probably it then.
Is there. Hold on. Weird. It's not showing me all the comments. I hate
But it always
Facebook
does.
so hard.
Why is it closing the video?
Stephanie Menard says, I do like being tall, but it makes finding long enough pants a pain in the ass. I dropped down to 5'7" or 8" just for that. I
can understand that, because Cynthia, remember that I worked with at Family Video? She was like 6'2", I think. And like she had the other problem is, like, for somebody as tall as her, when she would buy shorts, no matter what size shorts she bought, they were like shorty shorts.
Yeah,
because she had long legs. Yeah. Right. So the video store, you were supposed to wear, decent length shorts, but every pair of shorts she bought,
why I always got rolled up for wearing nutters?
No, that was just because you wouldn't tuck them in, dude. You just tuck.
Yeah, that's true. You did have to tuck your shirt in.
Yeah, tuck your shirt and balls in. Those are they're pretty firm on those rules. I can give you one, but not the other.
Yes,
and I mean balls.
I got one on each side. Yeah,
there's not enough room for both in there. Let's be honest.
Valerie says at 5'10" I'd really like a solid 5'6". Easier to find pants, comfy snuggles, likely better shoe selection.
Well, yeah, especially if you have like size 15 shoes or something as a woman.
It's like there's, we're watching Archer. So many Lana jokes just popped in my head.
Yeah.
But that's all I got on my end. That's pretty good though. Nothing compared to last week though. Last week y'all blew our shit up and it was amazing.
Okay, yeah, and since we're long here anyway, that works out for the best probably. But all right, so Cheeto says I'd probably shrink down to about 1 to 2 millimeters and roll myself in cocaine and climb into urethra.
That's fair.
That's a great The Boys reference. He says salty selection, shrink down to fun size and become a wrestler and do porn in a luchador mask, of course. Sure. And he says, honestly, it'd probably stay about the same height, though. I'm average at 5'10", tall enough without being short, I guess. I might not be a fun-sized wrestler or climbing into urethras, but I can still roll around in the cocaine. P.S. Don't do drugs, kids. Just say no. Let me do them for you. Listen, just because you're 5'10" doesn't mean you can't crawl around.
It's true.
You
just got to be aggressive.
That's right. You put your mind to it.
Put it on your fucking vision board. Like, is that a urethra?
You are correct, sir. Somebody's shooting off fireworks.
That was yesterday.
I mean,
summer solstice.
Yeah, but that's my point. It's like, what else?
Weird pagan.
You know what it is people are already buying their 4th of July.
It is a solstice.
Maybe it's a solstice.
Maybe there's some witchy crew out there like, yo, dog, I got fucking ass blasters we can shoot off.
I mean, I don't know if ass blasters
they probably
are fireworks or not. I hope so.
Have you ever been to a fireworks store?
Yeah. I have. Yeah, they probably are. Yeah. They're what you put in your ass instead of bottle rockets, They're like, these
exactly. These are
ass
tested, mother approved. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they burn a lot less.
Okay.
Sense.
Oh shit! Endorsed by Steve. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just got his face on there.
So you said he had a lead-in.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine sent me a video yesterday of a guy on Instagram who his handle is Thejoemustgoon _ and he does what he calls fire escape cooking, which is he goes out on his fire escape and he hollers down to people on the street that was like, yo, if I could cook one meal for you right now, what would it be? And they answer him, and then it shows him making it, basically. The first one I saw, dude says a buffalo chicken sandwich. So he makes the whole thing, like makes the buns and everything.
Is
like,
the dude just on the street waiting?
No, I think what he does is I think he hollers at him and then the
next day, hey, come back or whatever.
Yeah, I think that they don't really show that part, but I'm assuming that's what's going on. But my friend Sue asked me, she goes, what would yours be? And I was like, oh, that's a good question. I don't know what mine would be. Like if someone just bang, hey, what meal can I make for you? Now, I will say, looking at his Instagram page, a lot of what he's made for people, he has made actual meals, but there are a lot of sandwiches on here.
Yeah.
You know, so basically it looks like nothing's really
now, does
off
he
the
deliver
table.
it, or does he just launch it off the fire escape? Okay.
No, he walks down and gives it to him.
Should make it a fun game afterwards.
Yeah. So there's, I guess, you know, the question is, if he asked you, I believe let's see how he words it here. If I could cook you one meal, what would it be? That's what he asks.
So some random dude I've never met. I have no idea who he is. He's like, can I cook you a random meal?
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
I'm thinking like,
yes,
he's yelling off his fire. So we're in New York. So immediately I'm shooting him. No, wait, you're not allowed to have guns in New York. Immediately I'm drinking a Freedom 2.0, then shooting him because I carry illegally.
Right.
and then I, because you can't stop my freedoms or whatever. My first thought is some dude I don't know on his fire escape going, yo, let me cook you a meal. I'm just like, I'm thinking easy because I don't know this guy's skill. And I don't want, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, give me a, fucking beef Wellington, Like, I'm thinking like really funny, double bacon smash burger. Yeah.
Okay, I like that answer. Because here's the way I approach it. Like the weird guy, like none of that approach might. But what I did have the same thought as you is like, I don't know what this guy's like level of cooking is, but it's, you never know. Is this a person who's learning to cook and maybe this is how he's learning? Is someone hollers something at him and he goes, okay, and then learns how to cook it, whatever. The first thing that I don't know why, but a chicken parm sandwich is what jumped into my head, man. I just was really, maybe I'm just feeding for a chicken parm.
Dude, you can make an easy chicken parm, red bag chicken. Just saying.
Yeah, I know, right? Yep, that's what I was thinking. With this is that's kind of the answer that I really want is the just the like don't overthink it, it's just like what's a first thing that kind of pops into your head type of thing, like if you really like what sounds good to you today kind of a thing, I think is basically what he's doing. But yeah, looking at this, like today I think he did a chicken quesadilla for a dude. He's done cinnamon rolls, chicken and waffles, looks like a I don't know, some sort of a stew with potatoes.
Must be an Irish
that's why I
guy.
said it's like it looks like this dude made.
No, the guy ordered it up.
Not Irish. Well, he could be.
Take a potato stew. Okay. Is that your Irish cousin? Potato stew.
Yeah. We call him Tater, but yeah. But yeah, he did country fried steak for one person. What is this? I don't know what that is, but it looks delicious. Vodka chicken parm sandwich.
There you go, a little vodka sauce on there.
It's also cool because he says full recipe on his website also.
That's an interesting cooking gimmick. Yeah.
Right? I love it. It feels like such a win-win too, right? It's like it's beautiful that he's just like, hey dude, I'm gonna make you lunch tomorrow. What do you want? And I'm sure he gets his hits and all that. Internet hits and all that stuff. Yeah, so it feeds both, literally. And like I said, it feels like a nice thing to do for somebody, and it's win-win.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I like it.
The food looks really good too. Like I started following him because the food looked really good.
Give him a whirl too. You should send me his information or something.
Okay. I'm actually in the Q of the W. I was
That
gonna
that
basically
works.
just at him. Just be, you know, if blah 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 asked you
that's even a better idea because maybe he'll share it. Yeah. Woo!
And even if he does,
Sorry.
yeah. Either way, let him know he's appreciated because man, this food looks so good. I just ate that not that long ago. Man, damn. God damn. Oh, that's chicken cordon bleu. I thought he did make someone a beef Wellington at first, and I realized it's chicken. That would have been hilarious if he did make it.
Yo, what can I make for you for lunch tomorrow? Beef Wellington. Shit.
Yeah.
He's actually just like this. Nah, delete.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
for the next guy.
No, keep walking, son.
Yeah. Not so much, bud. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, you know, if at the Joe Must Go On _ asked you what meal he could cook for you, what would you say?
Show us the food you want.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. All right. Yeah, head on over to saltylanguage.com, find the links to the episode. Go check out tangentboundnetwork.com, or the show's over there. And also, if you're looking for a network for your podcast, come join us over there. And if you talk to Mark,
I was supposed to go to Cleveland this weekend, but Saturday's going to be hot as fuck, so we're not going. Sorry, buddy. Not that I reached out to you anyway.
Yeah. Well, you got to pull the Mark move and wait until
what are you doing?
And only have about a half hour. So, yeah.
Hey, bud, you want to hang out?
What would be hilarious is if you did that.
That would
he was
be
like,
fun.
"Yeah, I'll be right there."
I mean, I like Mark, but the only time I'll do that is if you and I were going to Cleveland. Yeah. Sorry if I'm going with Milady, Mark. You're right out. Yeah. Unless you have cigars, then come on in. Getting a little low over here.
Yeah, we got to go visit Steve.
Actually, I haven't heard from that guy yet since I reached out to him. That scrappy little rascal. Yeah,
and he is a rascal.
Indeed.
And we got to sort that out too. Yeah. All right. So yeah, if you want to reach out to us on the socials, you can find us on Twitter at @salty_language. You can find me on various socials at Stunami. Although here's something for you. Did you know that like most of the time with TikTok videos now, if someone shares them with you, they're wanting you to log in now to even watch them? Yeah, because I've had a couple people send me TikTok videos and I can't watch them because it wants me to log in.
I would understand, but I have an account, so I don't understand.
It's ridiculous. I figure what I'll do is I'll just get on the dark web. I mean,
you just got to do like
account.
most people I know and just have one to look at stuff and not actually partake.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's funny because
dude, unless my Freedom 2.0 stops the power.
Right.
All right.
Anyway, yeah.
Speaking of socials, you can find me on the Instagram's at Demonotony. Speaking of TikTok, at Salty Language on the TikToks. Salty Language Pod on YouTube. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a little thumbs up thing, make some comments. If you're watching, you're awesome. If you're not watching, you can. That's all I'm trying to say. And once my future sexy internet gets installed, that's where you'll be able to find Salty Language Live, where you can see like a little bit before the show, and whenever we're like, shit, I gotta go take a leak, and it's just dead air, we'll be there.
Yeah, because usually the other one who's still, if one of us sticks around, we're usually twerking.
So much clapping. It's crazy.
Yeah. God damn it. Sorry, that just reminded me of that tweet that I sent you and Cheeto. It's like cheese clapping, but it's just Taco Bell revenge.
Brian. Oh, wait. Patreon.com/saltylanguage. Do you want to help your boys out? Do you want extra content for the low price of way less than a Freedom 2.0? You can join us per month. Mm-hmm. And, you can give us Freedom 2.0 money if you want. There's no stopping you.
Yeah.
But whatever.
True.
Minimum, it's $3 a month, and it's plenty of content on there.
Right. And you can also just pay $3.
Never pay $3 again. Or you can pay $3, watch what you want, and bump it up to $5. Or $7,000.
Or $7,000. Whatever.
It's crazy, guys. But anyway, Brian, you got yourself another side sitch.
Yep, it's a podcast called The Crazy Life that me and Heno do, which we'll be recording tomorrow, actually. And it's him and I talking about what's going on in our lives, as well as just kind of where we're at mentally. And sometimes we talk about stuff having to do with mental health, mental illness, recovery, addiction, that kind of stuff as well, or just things that we think might help just make life a little better. So please give us a listen if you would. We'd appreciate it. And I think that's about it. So until next week, have a Freedom
Exactly.
2.0. You'll be fine.
I would rather have the 8,000 beers I had on Saturday than have a Freedom 2.0.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would also rather have your 8,000 beers.
Oh, and also stay salty.
Yeah.
Is that the end?